very good evening to you. Welcome to the FKFPL review show. My name is Robinson Kenyan. Tonight we take stock of what transpired over round 18 of the Football Kenya Federation Premier League. Remember, 18 goals were scored from the 7 matches that were played. In studio, I'm with Cedric Musumba and Roger Sishtemi. And joining us via Zoom shortly will be Steve Ayo, who will be giving us his views on what impressed him most over the weekend and what other teams should be working on. Gentlemen, welcome to the show, and we want to get straight into the thick of things. We want to begin with FC Leopards settling for a barren draw against Posta Rangers. Roger Sishtemi, let's begin with you on this. First of all, the coach called poor officiating in this tie.
I think the FC coach is entitled to his opinion, bearing in mind that the league, everybody is looking forward to securing that crucial ticket to the Champions League by 30th June. I think he felt like the officiating was not at top notch, because after that red card incident involving the captain of the day, that is Kipyegon, he felt like the match officials were not taking everything seriously, and they had many calls favoring Posta Rangers, who had an advantage of one man. But I'm really happy for the goalkeeper, that is one Benjamin Ochan, who really once again kept Leopard in this game and ensured at least they get something out of it. Was it not for Ochan impressive saves and those stunning saves, definitely the result would have been totally different. So I think that one point is really, really important. Though you understand they still have one game in hand and they'll be playing against Mathare on Thursday. So they should go into that Mathare game with a lot of synergy, so that at least they can maybe go level on points there, or rather they can leapfrog the league leaders depending on how many goals they'll score, or they can still go level on points with KCB, who did a good job over the weekend.
Cedric, Kipyegon was sent off in this tie. I wanted to take a look at, that clip of Kipyegon being sent off. Do you feel like it was a warranted red card?
Definitely it was a red card to me, simply because, remember, this is a centre-back. Kipyegon was not playing his natural full-back three, as it has been, whereby I understand by that particular time he would have been in a position of picking a red card, because either he would have overlapped or he would have been wide enough off the centre pitch. And again, if you clearly assess what really happened,
yes,
and align to FIFA rules, you will again not even argue about this particular red card, simply because he was the last man.
Yes, I wanted to take a look at that clip. Was it a red card? I want us to look at the clip, and then, of course, we narrow it down. You know, from where you sit, Cedric, and from where Shtemi sits, this is not something that you expect in such a game. Cedric.
Yeah, you see, Robbie, there's nothing actually to argue about that particular clip. Remember, even if you were to draw the line,
yes,
Kipyegon was behind the striker. He literally came to stop the striker. Somebody will say that he decided to pick a red card for the team, simply because if not that red card, this striker was actually in advancing position to score. And at the moment, going by the FIFA rule, you stop somebody who is advancing, who is in an advantage to score, becomes a red card. Anyone will argue out that he was the last person. If even you do that particularly, you still see he's ahead of each and every FC Leopard defensive line. There's nothing actually to argue around it. If you go by all other permutation and rule that has been put in place to govern this soccer kind of game, he deserves to get that particular red card. And that red card comes to the time where FC Leopard was really struggling. I cannot really say that he did not really deserve. You see, he missed the ball first. He picked the striker's leg, and any slight touch on that striker who is advancing and who is in a very clear position to score. In fact, they are very lucky enough that he picked him outside the D area. If it was inside the box, it would have costed FC, because they would have been awarded the Posta Rangers a penalty, which FC could have find it hard to come back. It's only good that somebody will say his decision-making was at par. He decided to make a decision outside the box, and he decided to make a decision that actually gave an FC a point out of that particular match. If at all he would have chosen not to go for a red card, this player would have advanced and scored. Yes. And what would have been the result if nobody would have lost out that particular point?
Yes.
I think
think Kipchoge knew what he was doing.
Yes.
Looking at that replay more than 3 or 4 times, you see the intention was not for him to get the ball, but to ensure he stops Francis from him proceeding to the box. And just like Cedric has said, by chance, if Francis could have gone into that box, definitely things would have been two. Either he could have scored or he could have earned a penalty. And that would have been, actually, that would have been the game changer for that match. So kudos to somehow. He could have went outside, he could have been sent off. But I think in one way or another, Kipchoge should be the hero for Leopards because he took 1 card for the team.
So, gentlemen, I want us to listen to what FC Leopards coach, that is Patrick Osems, had to say after collecting a point against Posta Rangers.
Of course, you cannot be satisfied when you are AFC Leopard, and you cannot be satisfied with 1 point. But as I said, when you see the physiognomy of the game, I think we got a red card after 3-4 minutes in second half. So we played 45 minutes, 10 against 15. And so it's not, I can say it's a good point. It's a good point because this kind of game, if you are not able to win it, at least you don't have to lose it. Pressure. Yeah. I already told you pressure is for beers and for wheels, so that's not a big problem. We still have 1 game remaining on Thursday, and if on Thursday we win, we will be at the top. But top is not important right now. It's not important right now. We will see. I know that end of June is something special, but after the league will be finished only in August. So let's try to be first at August.
Cedric, Patrick Osems was satisfied with the point, having in mind that he was a man less in that, and is banking on a win in the next fixture that will be on Thursday so that he can go on level points with KCB.
Osems is just trying to be a professional coach at his own level best, to a say that he doesn't really want the players to be blamed that much, given also the period that they have been actually given, the tight period they have been given to ensure that they have somebody who will represent the country in a continental arena. This is not the time actually to start pointing fingers at your player. Remember, if you start doing so, it might work against you, simply because your player might feel so pressured, even more as in much enough from their coach as opposed to their fans. But truth to be said, Robbie, I watched this particular match.
Yes.
This is not the FC Leopard I expected. All the departments at FC Leopard were not really functioning. I could not really see those passes that I was expecting from this team. The team was really playing as if it was in a training ground. Their flanks were blank. There was no other cross that will come out. In fact, they made Rupia to struggle. Rupia would fall deep back to come and collect balls. At some point, he played as if he was playing at number 10. This is not the FC Leopard that I expected, whereby the functions of some of the FC Leopard had gone out to search for green pasture, to an essence, that there were some scouts who was really looking for African players. I expected to see them bringing that value into this particular team. I needed them actually to come back and show us why they had sneaked out of this particular camp to go and look for those Greek goals. If at all they had whatever that it takes to go and trade in Europe, then this would have shown in this Posta Rangers. And Makiu, I'm talking about the likes of Benview Chaka, the likes of Clyde Sinaji. These are the players. Okay, somebody might say Sinaji was not being partnered by his natural partner at the center,
yes,
whereby Kipchoge had brought up to partner with him. But also their wing back were that really blood. They were not really supporting the attack that we normally see from FC Leopard. Their flanks were not bringing in the crosses that Rupia would latch on. I don't know what really happened with this team. At some points, I might also say their central midfield was playing as if FC had already gone ahead with some goals scored. I remember some points when they were supposed to break,
yes,
and maybe attack. You realize when these balls happened to land into the feet of Fabrice, he could slow down that particular game and maybe even allow the Posta Rangers to recollect themselves and defend.
Yes.
This is not the FC that anyone could sit down and watch. They were so lucky to come off this particular match with a point. And it's not all about the red card that Posta Rangers, as in the FC Leopard, really succumbed to Posta Rangers.
Yes.
Even in first half before that red card, they were really not really still bringing out the value that we people really invested to sit and watch them.
Remember, you can be part of the show. You can call in. The numbers to call in at the bottom end of your screen. Give us your views on what transpired on match week 18 of the Football Kenya Federation Premier League. Shtemi, I want us to listen to what Okumbi had to say, picking a point against FC Leopards. Let's listen to Stanley Okumbi.
Yeah, of course, in the end, haijakuwa sawa, but naweza sema pia, of course, we had a good job kwa players wetu, kwa sababu naweza sema wame-execute plan venye nilikuwa nimeplan from the word go. But hii time ya red card wakiwa one man less, of course, nilikuwa nataka quality kidogo, of course, nimetry kwa push, nimetry ku plan, kwa sababu hiyo ndio time sasa tungefaa kuchukua game. But sometimes ina happen when team iko chini, wamepewa red card, sasa ndio pia wana give 100%, so it may happen. But I think pia 1 point against FC ni sasa pia ni mbaya. Sasa that when tulikuwa more than them, tungefaa kufunga. Ni ile tu venye of course ilisema from the beginning that tunafaa kuscore, sababu chances nazo tuna create. Tukiangalia game ya last, we create more chances. Leo game ikianza tumecreate more chances. I think na need to kuwa composure, precision kwa half opponent. And of course hiyo ndio kitu tumekuwa tukiwakia, ni kushow that itakama.
Stanley Okumbi, the Posta Rangers coach, of course, also contented with a point against FC Leopards. I mean, Shtemi, we expected that he should not be contented with a point. Against 10 men, he should have at least gotten 3 points.
No. I'll differ with you, Robbie, on that, because these are coaches just in that team for less than 6 matches.
But you remember, going back, he was given an award for the coach of the month.
Yeah, it is. Yes. Is on a rebuilding process whereby you see the team, he came in when the team was struggling, but right now he has gone 5 matches without losing. That means that they have done a good job there. He has won 2 matches and then 3 draws. So for Kumbi saying like that, I think what he needs to work on, and I will allude to what he said, his finishing. Their profligacy up front actually is really costing them a lot of points, because you see, Francis Nambute is the man who could have scored a number of goals there. He had a couple of chances, but unfortunately he didn't make good use of it. And at the end of the day, you find they ended up drawing the Leopards, the team that they should have won this game. But, you know, as he has said also, that when a team maybe are reduced to 10 men, of course, they give their best and they try to frustrate you. And, you know, Leopards could have sneaked out with their 3 points. Had Collins Shichenje made good use of Rupia's pass from the left flank, whereby he just got the pass, he faced the goalkeeper, but unfortunately the ball just missed the target by inches. But all well, I think that was a balanced game. And them getting a point against the so-called Kenyan giants FC Leopards is a plus for Okumbi and his boys.
I think.
Well, Cedric, let me interrupt you. We have a caller on the line. Good evening. Welcome to the FKFPL review show. What's your name? Okay, we'll be getting back to that. Cedric, I interrupted you. You wanted to say something about what Rogers had alluded to.
Yeah, I just needed actually to adjust Rogers' thinking when he said that Collins actually made a very clear turn and he placed the ball where it's supposed to be placed. Unfortunately, he missed. I still see that particular chance as poor decision-making. Remember, at that particular point where Shichenje was, there was another player who had actually been latched just beside his right side of his feet. If at all he would have thought very fast and placed that ball on that particular angle, FC Leopard would be counting 3 points. It's only that these players on front of goal, they stop thinking. They stop actually thinking that they're playing with the others into this particular team. And every time they get this ball in front of goal, they think just of shooting. That should not be the essence of playing it in a game made up of 11 players. Each and every time you have the ball, you need to have all of your mind and thinking at 100%. To an essence that in front of goal, it accumulates to what we normally refer to front of goal maximum concentration. And at the moment you start doing that, you will end up start pumping those goals, pumping those targets that really will end up giving you a score at the end of all other trials. Given to the point that Shitemi has just alluded to the fact that Okumbi is so happy to come out of this particular point, I will support Okumbi. Remember, he was playing against FC Leopard. This is FC Leopard by the name. It's a bigger team.
Yes.
And even given by how FC Leopard is really now trading in this current particular league,
yes,
it's a team actually to give a run for other teams' money, simply because it's chasing also for the trophy.
Yes.
Look at how accumulatively they have really managed to amass the points where they are right now. It's a team that is challenging the top position of the log. Coming to play against FC Leopard and you pick a point, you need to celebrate the fact that Okumbi.
Sorry for interrupting you. We do have a call on the line. Good evening. Welcome to the FKFPL review show. What's your name?
My name is John Musava.
Yes, of course, we are reviewing match week 18. What do you make of the matches that were played?
I'm very happy with the performance of FC Leopard.
Yes.
Actually, they had a draw over Posta Rangers, but actually I'm very happy with the performance of FC Leopard.
You are happy with the draw?
Yes, I'm very happy because according to the previous performance, it seems it's working very hard. And I think that game, when they come out with a draw, it was at least an average performance. And when you look from the difference from the KCP,
yes,
they are not very far from the list.
So,
actually, that game, they could almost lose that game. About the Post Rangers, they should not feel high and say that they are celebrating on a draw.
Yes.
Actually, they are supposed to be celebrating on a win. So generally, from the performance I'm seeing from the screen,
yes,
it gives actually FC Leopard an upper hand. When you look at the red card that came out from that game,
yes,
actually on every game we see a red card coming, it gives the morale of the players. Actually, that is why we had those results. I'm very happy with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cedric. Of course, FC Leopards fans are saying they're happy with the results. We also do have Abdi on the line. Good evening, Abdi. Welcome to the FKFPL review show. How are you doing?
I'm doing
Yes. What do you make of the results from the matches that were played over the weekend?
okay. I think for the first half, FC Leopard is a big team, and now their performance is very good.
Performance is very good. And aside from FC Leopards, of course, we had Wazito Tusker, which settled for a 1-1 draw. Your thoughts on that?
Pardon?
Aside from FC Leopards, we also had Wazito get a 1-1 draw against Tusker. What did you make of that?
Okay, even for that one, I think the Wazito, they really tried. Because if you compare Tusker and Wazito, yes, it means that they really played their heart out.
Thanks a lot.
You see, you can compare.
Yes, sir. Abdi, thanks a lot, Abdi, for your input into this show. Of course, now, gentlemen, we want to shift gears. Let's move away from FC Leopards, settling for a barren draw against Posta Rangers. Let's get to Tusker, settling for 1-1 draw against Wazito. Cedric.
You see,
I mean, from the reaction from the coach and the players, Tusker were actually felt like they'd lost this game. Let me begin with Eshtemi. I mean, Eshtemi feels left out. Let me begin with Eshtemi.
Why? Cedric, you should have just allowed Cedric to...
Let me begin with you. Let me begin with you,
Eshtemi. To attack this particular point. Why are you doing this?
Okay. Just hold on, Cedric. I won't consume the entire points. I'll leave at least 1 or 2 points for you. Yes. So actually, Matano, from his post-match interview, said that he felt they dropped the 2 points. But from critical analysis of that match, that was a fair result because Wazito came back into the second half a stronger side, and Tusker should be at least feeling a bit lucky to have gotten that point, because you look the intensity that Wazito had in the second half. Maybe the result would have been gone maybe on their favor, but lucky for them, they got that 1 point. And they should be also celebrating because Leopards and Kariobangi Sharks also dropped those points. They dropped the 2 points over the weekend. Sharks dropped 3, Leopards dropped 2. So the biggest win, of course, that was KCB. But now the battle is still on. It's not a celebration time, and Tusker should go back into the drawing board and maybe try to re-strategize for their next match so that they can return back to the top of the table. But looking at how these things are at the moment, this race is going to be so interesting. And whenever you slip up, just be assured that your opponent, your rival, is going to take advantage of you, and he'll go that up. And the positive thing so far from the history of these teams that are trying to battle it for the title, the team like KCB, maybe this could be the year, but looking back on the history, KCB is that team that always maybe start off the league strongly and maybe fade along the way. But maybe basing on what Zico has instilled into this team, maybe things might be a bit different. But for Tusker, I feel they should at least be happy with that point. Because, first of all, goalkeeper error. That man gifted the goal to Kevin Kimani. That was an easy goal. He couldn't handle a feeble cross, or rather feeble shot from Amos Asembeka. That was a long distance shot that it couldn't trouble him. But unfortunately, he let his teammates down. But the positive thing about also Tusker is that left back in the name of Sammy Major, he did what his brother failed to do, Henry Major, by scoring that opener. It was a good goal. But when his brother came in, maybe they thought he could secure the 3 points as he has always been doing, but things were tight.
Yes, we have Kelvin on the line. Good evening, Kelvin. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Robbie.
Yes, so welcome to the FKFPL review show. We are taking stock of what transpired in match week 18. And right now we are talking about Wazito settling for 1-1 draw against Tusker FC. Did you feel like Tusker should have at least collected 3 points from this game?
Yes, I feel Tusker should have won that game.
Yes.
Because I am a Wazito fan. And I'm very disappointed the way Kimani has been lining up his lineup. Because he's leaving out good players that he can get in points. So I feel Tusker really dropped crucial points.
Yes, you feel Tusker dropped crucial points. Thanks a lot. That is Kelvin, who says he's our Wazito fan and feels that Tusker dropped crucial points. Cedric, there's something that Kelvin has said, has mentioned, and he said that he feels like Kimanzi is leaving some of his best players out. I remember you were watching this game with Roger Seshtemi seated together in the newsroom. Do you feel the same?
I think it's Kimanzi policy, and we have seen him even at Harambee Star. He's a kind of a coach who like rotating his squad before he really get to settle on whom is to really push and support his philosophy. The rotational style of him, I see what these fans of Wazito are not really understanding. And remember, he's barely new to this particular team. I think this is his first season into this particular team. He need to play each and every player, just like what OCM said to FC Leopard. You will play each and every player until you understand their playing style before you can start saying that you have your first 11. You cannot start thinking of first 11 banking on the your previous coaching style.
Yes.
What fans needed to understand that Wazito was not playing a weaker team. Wazito was playing Tusker.
Yes.
And where is Tusker? Tusker is actually challenging for the trophy. Anything that happened to this Wazito team, just like what happened to FC Leopard, they should be celebrating. To the extent that they played against Tusker. We are here on record as in analyzing and trying to dissect this Tusker by player, and the result has always been leading us to a team that is composed with what we keep on referring to as depth. And that's what actually makes this team go on.
We also have Sami Mulwa on the line. Good evening, Sami. Welcome to the FKFPL show tonight. What are your thoughts from the bar and draw between Tusker and Wazito?
I want to comment the Wazito.
Yes.
And these other upcoming teams for the challenge they are giving to the big teams.
Yes.
In fact, I was very much impressed as I watched the games of those teams. And the one thing I want to comment is that it's like we have young players in all the teams.
Yes.
So we can say that the competition is fair. because when you look at the Tusker players and the Wazito players, when you look at the FC Lovers players and the players of the other teams, they look like they are of the same hench. So that's why that's why they are offering, the young teams are offering a great challenge to the big teams. And if soccer is managed properly this time around, there is a great future for Kenya to produce very good players.
Thanks a lot for your input in that. Of course, the league has very, very young players at the moment, and it's something that we've talked about on this show. Some of the players that have impressed on this show that we've had as the players of the week have been some fairly young players. And right now, I want us to listen to what the coaches had to say. Let's begin with what Matano had to say after the 1-1 draw against Wazito. And he felt that Tusker should have walked away with 3 points. Listen in.
Tumepoteza game kwangu, ni kupoteza. Tuna cover nzuri, si hatuna problem na ndio ni players wetu pata injured, lakini tuna cover ya kuweza kuna wale watu waweza kwa place. Unajua tumepeana, hiyo ni kupeana, tumepeana mistake moja goalkeeper bao, so tutarekebisha, lakini we have to fight hard, we have to fight, they have to realize their mistakes. Draw mbili mfululizo sio rahisi nzuri pia utasikwa kwa break ile momentum tulikuwa nayo ka slow down. But leo nimeona a lot of improvement, na ile eager, but fighting spirit, they want to win, but even second half referee alikuja kwa tofauti sana kuliko first half, so alikata sana advantage zetu, but all in all we're focusing forward for next match.
Well, of course, that is Batano saying that in the second half the referee changed his ways. Now let's listen to Francis Kimanzi as the head coach of Wazito. Remember, after resumption, they lost their first match and they managed to get a barren, rather 1-1 draw against Tusker, and this is what he had to say.
Nafikiria ningekuwa na wacha 90, manake ningekuwa na 80% ningeshinda hii mechi. Manake kuweza kumaintain ile intensity ya first half. Unaona, kutaka kucheza mchezo mzuri unahitaji kidogo movement. Inamaanisha lazima wachezaji wakave volume kubwa sana kwa kiwanja, na nafikiria sina hiyo intensity, singeweza kumaintain the same intensity nilikuwa nayo first half. Nafikiria ilikuwa bahati ama ni kwa bidii ya wachezaji that tuna concede early goal na pia tunaikomboa after. Second half tukastruggle. I knew kama tungekuwa 80% fit ingekuwa different results for sure, because I think we are superior in the technical and tactical approach ya game yetu. We were superior, but then you need energy and spirit to complete you.
Francis Kimanzi speaking right there after the 1-1 draw against Tusker. We do have Wafula on the line. Good evening, Wafula. Welcome to the FKFPL review show. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yes, we are taking a look at the results from match week 18. Tusker settled for a 1-1 draw against Wazito, and FC Leopards, despite being being a man down, they managed to get a barren draw against Posta Rangers. Your thoughts on the two matches?
Yeah, my thought on Tusker game. Actually, I didn't expect Tusker to give us a draw. I am really expecting Tusker to be among the contestants of the league. And therefore, I expect to win for them. But with the good strikers like Henry Major,
yes,
I actually expected them to be on the scoreline.
Yes.
They compete for that golden boot with the likes of Rupi and Kapaito.
Yes.
But about FC Leopards, actually I'm a fan of FC Leopards. And I expected us to win and actually be level the points with KCB, but it didn't work.
Yes.
So with our one game in hand,
yes,
I actually expect for a win for us, and a win with more than 3 goals, so that we have goal difference, and we top the league.
Thanks a lot. That is Wafula saying that FC Leopards should win their next tie, and they go level on points with KCB. Gentlemen, we've listened to the coaches, what they had to say. That is Francis Kimanzi and Robert Matano. And we want us to move away from Tusker versus Wazito. And let's get into Homeboys hammering Western Stima 4-0. Eshtemi.
Wow. That's a good response from Homeboys after them losing in Nairobi against Sharks and scoring 4 goals against the...
Eshtemi, sorry for interrupting you. Remember last week, we had this discussion about Homeboys, and Cedric said that, Muyoti said that he's going back to the drawing board. He saw something and he's going to work on it, and the next game there will be results.
Yeah, I think they did respond very, very quickly to that call from their coach. Mm-hmm. And those goals they scored, I think it is a motivation to them. Remember, they were playing a team that is also struggling in the relegation, and they are also their rivals. They come close to each other. They are just neighbors, Kisumu and Kakamega. Mm-hmm. But kudos to their goalkeeper, that is Geoffrey Oputi, who also ensured that they don't concede. Remember, this weekend has just been a weekend of goalkeepers. Actually, the goalkeepers did a good job. Remember the likes of James Aruni, who walked away the man of the match performance against the Kariobangi Sharks. Then we had Benjamin Ochan, who did a good job. Then we had Joseph Ochoka of KCB, who did a good match against Bandari. And then we had Geoffrey Oputi. I feel the goalkeepers, for the first time ever, they did that job very well across board in the weekend. In the week 18 of the Premier League. Mm-hmm. But for Homeboys, that is a good performance for them. Bearing in mind that they had. They started off, the restart didn't favor them. Mm-hmm. But before the stoppage, they had started regaining their confidence and the rhythm. Now, this time around, I think this will also give the coach that confidence that I'm slowly getting back where I was. And for those maybe who are thinking that this is the time that maybe Muyoti could be on his way out, I feel he need to continue the job and maybe ensure Homeboys maybe come back to where they were. Remember last season, they were nearly winning this title, but now Corona happened and they had to go back to the default setting again.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of goalkeepers shining over the weekend, I want to move to another game, and this was between Kariobangi Sharks and Ulinzi Stars. Clinton Aguero, as they call him, and Masita Masuta were on target for Ulinzi as they got a 2-0 win against Kariobangi Sharks. A tie where James Saruni was the man of the match. And Cedric, I know we've spoken about Saruni quite a number of times in this game, and he's coming of age. I mean, he's aging like fine wine.
Saruni is a goalkeeper that has grown by age. Remember, he's on record actually registering a clean sheet after clean sheet. Mm-hmm. And he's at some points actually when we were on this particular show trying actually to ask ourselves questions as per why goalkeeper are not really being awarded player of the month. Mm-hmm. And I think what he has demonstrated, even when he featured for Harambee Star, is a player who has now grown by age. Mm-hmm. And he has matured enough actually to command that particular area, mm-hmm. given how he's trading. But then again, back to Ulinzi. Ulinzi has not been a bad team. Remember, it's a team that has accumulated more draws in this particular league. What does that really tell you? It's only that they have been blunt going up front. They have not really actually been creating those chances that will give them goals. Mm-hmm. But going holistically, how they have been playing against the so-called big teams, it's a team that has been giving these teams a run for their money. It's only when they start creating chances like what they created against Kariobangi Shark, and somebody would actually get surprised. Like me, I didn't imagine mm-hmm. that it is Ulinzi who came out of that particular battle with a 2-win victory. Yes. Somebody will think that Kariobangi Shark will go and collect points, pick points from Ulinzi. Yes. But this is a clear demonstration that if this team can get concentrated, mm-hmm. if this team can really settle down very fast, yes. it can still collect and try to bring those attempts, goal-scoring attempts, to the opponent's goal, mm-hmm. they will end up coming out of each and every match they face mm-hmm. victorious. Briefly, Eshtevi?
I think I love to add what Cedric has said. That was a good start for Ulinzi at their new home ground, that is Narok. Though I felt like Sharks didn't actually turn up for this match. They didn't push the way I expected them to push, though they had some chances whereby they could have ensured that they get something. But in the second half, the soldiers sat back, and that really worked for them. And in the support of Saruni, it was difficult for Sharks to at least get penetration through the post. So they did their homework well, and for them getting their 4th win of the season, and consequently inflicting their fourth defeat of the season on Sharks, that opens up the title race, and slowly by slowly, those teams that were struggling in the first round, they can now continue and they can now fight out and maybe get those who are enjoying a good run in the previous run before the league was altered due to Corona. So this is just an eye-opener and a wake-up call maybe to other teams that will be looking forward to play those teams trying to challenge for the Champions League slot, that indeed they can make it. But I was really impressed on how Collins Omondi scored the second goal. Remember, that was just about precision and technical prowess of that boy. That was his first goal in the league, and he showed that indeed he's ready to play in the top flight football. That was just an impressive goal from that lad.
But also, Robbie, we need to understand that what we have just said here has come to pass. Yes. You see, the likes of Kariobangi Sharks is a team that actually plays possessive soccer. At the moment you lock out their creativity at the midfield, that's like their engine, you lock them out from scoring. And this is what has really happened to them when they are playing against Ulinzi. Yes. Ulinzi might have seen as if it was inviting them to their goal, but the holistically philosophy of Ulinzi was to lock out those creativity that are created by the likes of Mazembe at the midfield. Those crosses that he would bring, they were not really coming, and that's why they ended up losing that particular match.
So, gentlemen, remember the game that completed match at day 18 was between Nairobi City Stars and Sofapaka, where Nairobi City Stars got a 3-0 win against Sofapaka. I want us to listen to what Sofapaka head coach Ken Odhiambo had to say after the loss.
I think from the word go, immediately those guys, immediately we considered the penalty, everything will go the way we had planned. Because it's like the players they panicked a bit. But I think this is football, because this is not the first time that we are conceding penalty in the first 10 minutes. It has happened before, like twice, and we managed to save the penalties. So I believe the way we played in the second half, that's the way we should have played after conceding that penalty, and we would have won this game. And then the other thing was dealing with those drop balls. That was the only mistake that we had. But I believe that's something simple we can work on, and then come the next game, we'll be ready. Because now I've seen where we need to do some adjustments, and I believe the next game we will win. I'm sure. It happens in football. It happens. What matters is how you'll pick yourself and move on.
What matters in football is how you pick yourself and move on. Roger Sishtemi, briefly, what do you make of Ken Odhiambo's comments?
Sometimes I get very pleased on how these coaches put out their comments. Remember, it's like they have rehearsed. Yeah? So for them, whenever the results go against them or when they go in their favor, they have something to say about it. And it's just the same statement. Now, like Ken Odhiambo is saying that they will be ready for the next match. I think the past match, after losing against Gor Mahia, he said the same thing. I think from where I sit and from how I'm seeing things,
the pressure is on him.
Pressure is on him, and his days are numbered. Since the arrival of David Ouma at Sofapaka, I think, to be honest, I'm not a prophet, but in the next few days or few months or few weeks,
yes,
maybe he could be on his way out. Because looking on the performance of the team, the general performance of the team, this team was not there. So Sofapaka didn't show that eager, that hunger to go and score goals. They conceded easy goals. The goalkeeper was not there.
They were also reduced to 10 men in this time.
Yeah, hold on. The goalkeeper, literally, he gifted them some of the goals. That the Togolese goal. We expect a player who's coming from West Africa to come and strengthen the team. But unfortunately, the goalkeeper, he was just full of blunders. And before the halftime, he did an off-the-ball incident that maybe the referee had no option but to red card him. And that now piled more pressure on Sofapaka. So it is unfortunate. Remember, it was not even their day. Lawrence Juma got the penalty. But unfortunately, he missed.
Yes.
And then that is how things collapsed completely. So it is unfortunate for a team of Sofapaka caliber to be struggling at this moment, whereby we know they have invested a lot in the players. They have the best players in the country, but things are just not working at Sofapaka.
Nairobi City Stars head coach Sanjin Alagic on the other side was impressed that his side picked 3 points against Batoto Bamungu.
You know, I need to congratulate my guys. Really play one outstanding match, especially first half when we had 3-0 against good teams. Sofapaka is a really good team, and it's not easy to win in these matches. But I need just to congratulate them. They were very serious through all the match, and even in the second half we had that penalty. If we score, probably we give more goals, but that little disturbance. But in basic, I can be very happy. This was direct game with Sofapaka. Now we are up to them in the table and position number 10. So we prepare for the next match for the Sharks. I hope this will be good push for us, because even against Gore we play good match and we didn't take the points, you know. So we continue with our games, and I hope this team will grow from game to game. And with our performance, I can be really happy. You know that already. I don't need to tell you. We miss him against Tusker and against Gore, and it was huge disadvantage to us, you know. And now you see how much he means to this team, and it's really amazing player. And when you have him in the team, Muki and Kip and Salim, you know, that's really, really skeleton of the team.
That is Sanjay Nalagi speaking after his side got a 3-0 win against Sofapaka at Ruaraka Grounds in Nairobi. Peter Opio scoring in that tie. Agesa also on the target, as well as Salim Abdallah. Cedric Nsumba, what do you make of the win?
This is a good team that I've really talked about it, knowing the kind of player that it really brings in each and every match. You have talked about Peter Opio. It has the likes of Anthony Kimani. It has the likes of Salim Abdallah, Bolton Omwenga, the young lad of Kevin Okumu. It's actually a team, I don't know why it keeps on dropping points. It's a team that should be challenging for the title, according to me, and that has been always my own opinion. And even going by how they have played against Sofapaka, if I told that was their way to go, then Citystar would be talking of trying to challenge for this particular trophy come this season. But then again, somebody will argue out that they have just been promoted from the nationwide. This is their first to try to settle down into the top flight kind of league. Maybe come next season, we will see them trying to soldier on and maybe challenging the other called the heavyweights of this league at the top of the log.
Gentlemen, there's one game that we've not spoken about, and this tie. So KCB hammer Bandari 3-0, and Harun Thomas was the man of the match, and KCB created so many chances, Cedric, that they could have actually sunk in 5 against Bandari.
KCB, I really loved how they played. And I remember Rob even telling you before this match, according to my own analytical analysis going by that particular match, I also came to realize that it's the team, according to me, that registered the highest attempt ever since the inception of this particular league this season. To an essence that they had 5 attempts on goal, 15 attempts on goal. I've never seen any other team going that high. Though somebody might argue that the Bandari also went 10, but now out of 15, 10 were on target. That was cities as in the KCB. And it showed you a team that was really hungry to get that particular win. And even how they were creating these chances, they were creating chances like any other professional kind of team would do. It's a team actually that was really very well. And remember, we have talked of also it having depth. We saw the likes of Michael Mutinda coming from bench. And what they could do, it was like he has just been playing without warming the bench, basically based on injury. It's a team with the likes of Ambulwa, the likes of David Owino. It really gave me what I was looking for. I don't know how it dropped point when it came in the league resurfaced from Corona, the break we had from Corona. But it's a team that if get well and focused what it wants to achieve, it will really give hard time to the so-called FC Leopard and Tusker that they are really changing logs up the league.
Eshtemi, what did you make of the win for the Bankers?
They found Bandari on a bad day. Bandari had a bad day in office. They were not in their normal form. They were just a pale shadow of themselves, because from the first whistle, from the first minute, I think KCB knew what they wanted into this match. Remember, they had already watched the likes of FC and Tusker and Sharks dropping those crucial points. So they told themselves, yeah, this is our chance to go back to the top of the table. And indeed, they did that in style. I was very, very impressed with how those players try to push themselves or rather carry themselves on the pitch, bearing in mind that if we drop these points, it will be difficult for us to go back to the top of the table. And even looking at how they scored those goals, it was all about teamwork. But I think I'll have to fault the Bandari coach, because on the tactical aspect, I think he started with 3 central defenders in that game, and it really cost him. Remember, he had Brian Otieno, he had Feli Mulumba, and then he had Bernardo Odhiambo. Those are central defenders. He tried to push Feli Mulumba to play at number 6, but that is exactly where the bankers capitalize in, because remember, these are spacey players. They have spacey wingers. And I remember, I think the last 20 minutes or so, Michael Odwor really gave Feli Mulumba hard time, and the third goal actually came from Michael Odwor, who just laid it out to substitute Derrick Otanga. But the opening 2 goals, it was all about defensive errors. Brian Otieno was ball watching when they conceded the first goal, and then the second goal, it was just a similar fashion.
Yes.
So that tells you exactly, maybe these guys came into this match unprepared, and fortunately for them, they had to pay the price. So they have to go back to the drawing board and ensure maybe they bounce back into the next match. Remember, this team also had not lost for the longest time possible since Kasambugo took over the mantle. So maybe it should be a wake-up call. Maybe they should be speaking too much, or rather celebrating what they have achieved before. But now, this match, they should really re-strategize and try to rethink on what to do after this thrashing by the bankers.
Yes. Briefly,
their midfield engine has been struggling of late. Remember when Wadro was given a role of bringing goals to Bandari, Danson Namasaka resurfaced. But of late, we have not been actually seeing the skills and creativity that he had before Corona, before Corona break into this particular team. That's why at the midfield, actually, there has been no that flair that Bandari really used to bring in before Corona break.
That just hold on, Robbie. In addition to that, yes. Robbie, I think after that, the coach had to make a substitution, bringing on Omar Kasumba, the striker. So it is after that substitution that we started to see at least Wadri playing the ball. But unfortunately, the bankers' defenders had already known how to handle him, and it was difficult for them at least to get a goal.
Well, thanks a lot, gentlemen. Cedric Musumba, Cedric Musumba, Rogers Shtemi. We could not get Steve Ayo on Zoom due to technical difficulties, but hopefully next week he will be here with us. Remember, we are taking stock of match week 18, where 18 goals were scored from the 7 games that were played. And on Thursday, May the 28th, Gor Mahia will be taking on Vihiga as FC takes on Mathare. We'll be looking forward to those games to see who comes out as the winner. That is where we call it a night right here on FKFPL Review. My name is Robinson Okenye. Have a good night.
This is KTN News.